Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in the meeting today. The purpose of this meeting is to review our progress on the team report, discuss our OB analysis, and give each other feedback. This is a discussion meeting, not a presentation meeting. So please feel free to share your thoughts and respond to each other. I will start me too by summarizing my part of the report and how it connects to our overall OB analysis. In my section, I focus on the main problem and the organization behavior framework we use to analyze FPT software from an organization behavior perspective. The key issues we identify is maintaining employee motivation and retention. In a project-based IT environment, FPT software relies on software engineers who work under tight deadlines, high mental demands, and consist performance pressure. Although the company is growing and offer competitive compensation, motivation can still decrease over time. From an OB point of view, salary alone doesn't guarantee long-term engagement. Engineers may feel motivated by beginning of the project, but repetitive tasks, workload peak, and limited recognition can gradually reduce intrinsic motivation. And this issues doesn't mean that APT software is partly managed. Instead, it is common OB challenge in knowledge-based organization, especially in the IT industry. And many engineers enjoy learning and problem solving, but continuous pressure and limited feedback can affect their engagement. To analyze this problem, we apply several OB concepts. Firstly, Harvard's two-factor theory explain why pay and job security prevent dissatisfaction, but don't strongly motivate employees. Secondly, Maslow's hi- hi- hierarchy of needs highlights the importance of a higher level needs such as recognition, achievement, and growth of knowledge workers. And thirdly, OB concept related to job stress and burnout explain how long-term pressure and deadline can reduce engagement and increase turnover risk. Together, this OB concept provide a clear foundation of the rest of the report. They have explained why motivation and retention issues can exist even in a successful company like Equity Software, and prepare us of the analysis of courses, solutions, and action recommendations. And finally, I have two short suggestions. First, I suggest we consistently use the phase from an organization behavior perspective to keep our analyze academic. Secondly, I think we should clearly state that our focus on mainly software engineers, not own employees, to keep scope clear. Before we move on, I would like to ask, do you think we should narrow the scope further, for example, by focusing on only on project teams?
About your question, I think narrowing the scope would be helpful from an organizational behavior perspective. Focusing on software engineers in project teams allows us to analyze motivation and share more deeply in project teams. Um, Project teams face the most pressure from deadlines and performance expectation, so OB issues like burnout and fairness are clearer and in this group. Okay, I will talk about my part of the report. My session focused on the cause of the motivation and retention problem at APT Software based on organizational behavior concept. First, One important cause is limited intrinsic motivation. From an OB perspective, even if employees receive a good salary, this does not always mean they are highly motivated. Using Herbert to factor theory, salary and benefits are considered hygiene factors. They can prevent dissatisfaction, but they do not strongly motivate employees in long terms. At Apogee Software, engineers may work on long projects with similar tasks. Over time, if they do not receive enough recognition, meaningful feedback, or change to grow, they may feel that the work is only about delivery, not personal development, and this can reduce their internal motivation. The second important cause is job stress and burnout. Software engineers often face tight deadlines, frequent change in requirements, and high expectations from clients. From an OP point of view, when this pressure continues for a long time, employees may feel emotionally exhausted. This is known as burnout, and burnout can reduce concentration, creativity, and job satisfaction. When employees feel tired both mentally and emotionally, they may start think about leaving the organization, even if they originally like the job. Another important OB cost is related to expectancy theory and fairness. According to expectancy theory, employees are motivated when they believe that their effort will lead to good performance and that good performance will lead to meaningful reward. But if engineers feel that extra effort is not clear, recognized, or that promotion criteria are unclear, their motivation may decrease. In large organization, employees sometimes feel that reward and recognition are not equal distributed. From an OB perspective, this perception of unfairness and strongly affect motivation and increase turnover in tension. So overall, the motivation and retention problem at Apogee Software is not caused by a single factor. It is the result of limited intrinsic motivation, high job stress, and unclear effort-reward connection, which are our classical organizational behavior issue. In addition, I have two suggestions for the teams. The first thing, I think we should emphasize burnout a bit more because it connects strongly to IT work pressure. The second thing, we could make the link between expectancy theory and performance evaluation clearer in the report. So next, I have the question do you think burnout of Vanish is stronger cause of turnover in IT companies?
For your question, I think both are important, but from my view, burnout is a stronger cause in IT company. Software engineers often work under continuous deadlines and mental pressures. When burnout happens, even fair rewards may not be enough to keep the employees motivated. Fairness matters, but without them managing stress, motivation will still decline. And the next part, I will summarize my part, which focus on how we apply the OB concept to solve the problem. From an organizational behavior perspective, solving motivation problem require more than increasing salary. One key solution is to increase the intrinsic motivation. For example, Engineers feel more motivated when they believe they work is meaningful when they can learn new skills or we research so that employees are more engaged when they have autonomy and opportunity for development. This is especially important in knowledge-based jobs like software engineering. Another important solution is improving the leadership style. From an OB point of view, leadership is not only about managing the tasks, but also about supporting the people. When managers provide the regular feedback, show appreciation, and care about employee development, employees feel more valued. Supportive leadership also increase trust and fresh physiological safety. This means employees feel more comfortable sharing ideas, asking questions, and expressing the concern. In project teams, this can improve both motivation and teamwork. Job design is another OB concept we apply. If engineers work on the same type of task for a long time, their motivation may decrease. By redesigning jobs to include more skill variety, learning opportunity, or rotation between the project, employee can feel more engaged and less bored. The OB solution directly addresses the cost discussed earlier, such as the low intrinsic motivation and burnout. They focus on changing how employees experience their work, not just what they are paid. Moreover, I suggest that we clearly match each solution with a specific problem. So the logic is very clear. Also, we might briefly mention physiological safety as part of leadership improvement. So I have the question to discuss is, do you think the leadership improvement or job redesign is more realistic for FBT software?
I think leadership improvement is more realistic in the short term, and training manager to give better feedback and support employee can be done faster than redesigning job. And job redesign is important, but it usually takes more time and coordination. About my part, uh, I will focus on specific action, challenges, and unintended consequence. First, at the action level, we suggest several practice steps. At the individual level, mentorship program and personal development plan can help employees see a future in the organization. And at the team level, regular feedback session can help manager understand employee concern early. At the organizational level, clear career path and non-monetary recognition can improve long-term motivation. However, from an OP perspective, implementing this action is not always easy, and one major challenge is resistant to change. Some manager may prefer focusing only on deadline and performance research, and they may see people focus practice as less important. Another challenge is cost and time constraint. Training program and leadership development require investment. In a fast-paced IT environment, manager may feel they do not have enough time to focus on employee development. There are also cultural challenges. In more hierarchical culture, employee may hesitate to openly share feedback or their concern. This can reduce the effectiveness of communication initiative. We also discussed unintended consequence. For example, when motivation programs are introduced, employees' expectation may increase if promotion and reward don't follow. They may feel disappointed. They may also be financial concern if some employee receive more development opportunities than others. From an OB perspective, identifying these risks so that our recommendations are realistic and balanced. I suggest that we should emphasize resistance to change is normal in OP. Also, we could add one short example of how to manage employee expectation. From my part, I have a question. Which challenge do you think is the hardest to manage, resistance, course, or culture?
Well, thank you for your question. So, in my opinion, resistant to change is the hardest. Even when resources are available, people may feel uncomfortable with new system or new expectations. From an OB perspective, managing attitudes and emotion is often more difficult than managing cost or time. Okay, so I will talk about my part of the report. My section focused on communication and how to overcome resistance to change at APT software from an organizational behavior perspective. Well, from an OB point of view, even good solution can fail and if communication is not effective. When organizations introduce change related to motivation, leadership, or evaluation, employees often feel uncertain. They may worry about how the change will affect their workload, performance, or career. This uncertainty often lead to resistance to change. In OB, resistance does not mean employees are negative. It usually means they do not clearly understand the change or do not feel safe with it. One important communication strategy is to clearly explain why change is necessary, not only what will change. Management should explain the business reason, such as strong competition in the IT industry and the need to retain skilled engineers. When employees understand the reason, they are more likely to accept the change. Another key OB concept is employee participation. Instead of only using top-down communication, APT software can involve employees through feedback session, survey, or pilot program. For example, a new mentorship or evaluation system can be tested in a few teams first. From an OB perspective, participation helped employees feel respect and involved. This reduced resistance and increased commitment. Two-way communication is also very important. Employees should have opportunities to ask questions and express concern, not just listen to managers. This helps build trust and reduce misunderstanding. Managers play an important role here. If managers communicate in a supportive way and listen to employees, workers feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts. This creates psychological safety, which is very important in the project teams. Finally, communication should be continued change. Change should not be announced only once. The regular update and feedback help reduce uncertainty and rumors. So, in summary, from an organizational behavior perspective, clear, honest and two-way communication can help APT software overcome resistance and successfully implement OB-based solution. Well, I have two small suggestions here. First, we should emphasize two-way communication more clearly in the report. Second, we should briefly connect communication with resistance to change theory. So, hi, do you think resistance would come more from employees or managers?
You can see interesting point. And I'm really excited to answer this question. I think resistance will come more from managers, especially at the beginning. From an organization behavior perspective, managers are often under pressure to meet deadlines and performance targets. So they may see people focus changes as extra work, and employees may feel uncertain at first, but with clear communication, they are usually more open to change. This is my answer to your question. That's why our recommendations focus not only on motivation and system, but also on leadership support and communication. I think today's discussion helps us understand clearly, connect clearly the problem and the OB courses, the solution and the communication strategy. Our next step is to refine the report based on today's feedback and make sure the OB concepts are clearly linked across all sections. So if there are no more comments, we can end today's meeting here. And thank you for everyone.
Thank you.